Kai is an E-class hunter. The weakest in the world. It's full of monsters and dungeons. With power no different than ordinary people. You're despised by your teammates. Was rejected by Kim. And can only participate in low-level raids. To make a living through the day. But even those trivial tasks. It's also full of danger. And death is always near. One day. Kai and his group of hunters enter a cave. It seems simple. But as soon as they put their feet inside, the back door suddenly closed. There's no turning back. A hidden mission appears. Only those who deserve it can survive. A voice boomed in Kai's head. And immediately, dark monsters spilling out of the darkness. The strongest hunters in the group. Quickly destroyed. Leaving Kai and a handful of survivors. When despair comes to a head. A strange message appeared before his eyes. Activation system mode. Complete the mission or die. Kai had no choice but to fight. From a useless person. You start a journey. That even I didn't expect. A mysterious power awakens in you and Kai will no longer be the weakest. Land pain throughout the body, CAI every bleeding wound. But you can't stop. Your eyes lit up with determination. When the hand first gripped the hilt of the sword. Another message appears. New skills gained. Primary swordsmanship enhanced strength index BA. Quick, you two look down at your hands. Feel the body a little lighter. A little more agile. This system can help me to be strong SAO. The question flashed through CAI's mind. But there's no time to think. Then another monster came. And this time you didn't run away. An awkward but determined slash. The sword cuts through the monster's flesh. It screams in pain. CAI doesn't stop. If you want to live, you have to fight. If you want to change, you have to be stronger. And from that moment on, an E-class nobody starts walking down the road. Become the strongest hunter. The tree breathes sweat all over its body. When the monster falls in front of you. A sound that echoes. The enemy is destroyed. Get amniotic experience 50 level UPS. CAI's body immediately feels more relieved. The wounds on your hands are closing. Although not fully recovered. You open the status board. And I saw that my stats went up a little bit. Level 2 strength 80, agility 7-9, vigor 10-24. I can actually get stronger by fighting. Hold hands tight. For the first time in my life I felt the change. You don't have time to enjoy winning. The growls echoing around. There's still a lot of monsters in this dungeon. He looked at the surviving hunters. They're all exhausted and desperate. If they don't fight, they die. Spicy clenched the sword forward. If the system chose me, I'm not going to die here. The battle for survival in the death cellar officially started. 1 hour passed. The whole group of hunters has fallen. Only BA people including Spicy around. Their monster carcasses piled up. But there's one last one standing in front of the exit. A B-class ghost. Kay looked at it and felt his body shake. These are no longer low-level monsters. A small mistake is enough to cost you your life. Malian subzone boots dark level 20 alert. Your opponent is beyond your current level. Kai tightened his sword. You know that. I don't have a window in this situation. But if you run away, you and the rest will surely die. The system appears again. Special duty. Defeat the evil werewolf. Skill rewards for breaking the punishment gender. If 7 defeat death. A cold feeling in the back covering the CAI. You take a deep breath. Eyes flashed a steady light. Okay, let's play to the end. The dark ghost roared. Red eyes staring at CAI. The pressure from the monster made him almost collapse. But you bite your teeth. The Laobot came at an astonishing speed. Kay just raised his sword. But the VA force is so strong that it propels you back to Ra. After banging against the wall. 50 HP boys panting. Painful sensations throughout the body. Instead of being afraid. A strange feeling rises in your heart. The excitement. He stood up, his eyes lit on the fighting fire. Survival mode activation system. Enhanced reflexes for 60 seconds. The world around Kai immediately slowed down. You can see the ghost's every move. Each of its muscles twitched before the attack. I can see its path. Kai grinds its teeth to one side. As soon as the boss arrives, the sword in your hand is broken, leaving a wound on the monster's hip. 200 HP. The ghost roared furiously, but Kai didn't stop. You take advantage of every moment. Booster system for continuous attack. Damage accumulation 50% available. Termination mode. Another message appears. Hands without hesitation. Put all your power into the sword. And crashed right into Tim. Moran boots destroyed. Get new skills. Break the promotion world. The boy knelt down to breathe. You did it. You beat a B-level bot. I'm really getting stronger. After the fierce battle, Kai is constantly getting stronger. You're constantly upgrading to new unlocked skills. Your body changes every day. From an E-class hunter, Kai begins to push his own limits. It's a name that gets the attention of the underworld. The most powerful kings constantly send out invitations. Reputation teams want you for years. But Kai refused. I don't need a king to be strong. I'll go my own way. Even though he's considered arrogant, Kai doesn't care. You know that to really get to the top, you can't depend on anyone. And Kai's lonely journey has just begun. After many battles, the system suddenly opens a special message. Get rare items. Key vault item SSS. No AI knows the FFF scary item Ra SAO. The tree decided to move in. As soon as the gate opens, you're swallowed by the darkness. The monster. Stronger than anything you've ever faced before. They're traveling far beyond the eye. The power that can tear a high-level hunter apart in a split second. He's been near death countless times. Fractured bones bleeding endlessly, but he stood still. You fought with all your will. To the point of almost dying to leave that dungeon. From that moment, realize that you are not strong enough. And you have to be strong, not just to survive, but also to get the panacea. The only thing that could save your mother from the disease. The devil no longer hesitates. Kai does its best to promote becoming the strongest hunter. It really starts here. After returning from SFF item vault, Kai immediately checked the inventory. We haven't yet achieved a panacea. But you collected people. Have some extremely powerful equipment and skills. New skills gained. Storm darkness items. Get the legendary hunter's cloak. Kai gripped his hand, his eyes filled with determination. I need to be stronger. This level is not enough. You walk out the gate. Prepare for the next challenge. An S-level vault never AI conquered. The tree hides its power and pleases the position. Mining items after each battle. To observe how the hunters operate. You want to better understand the tactics of strong teams. And how they survive in the dungeon. However, one day, when your team is on a mission, in a Category B vault, an unexpected incident occurred. Warning of the transformation dungeon. Dungeon speed class B class A. Hunters on the team. Immediately in a dangerous situation. The powerful monsters spill out. At tremendous speed, tearing down the group's defenses. They know that if they do nothing, the team will be destroyed. You are finally forced to act. The tree rushed into the midst of the monsters at speed. So fast that no AI can keep up. The sword in your hand. Sharp and precise slashing lines. Take down one monster at a time. People are stunned by your awesome power. In the blink of an eye, an anonymous e-hunter saved the team from disaster. All eyes are on you. Who are you really? After the Kai revealed its power in the category of vault, he was sent to the Hunters Association to recheck the power limit. The result shakes the entire system. Capacity assessment table name Kai old grade E new grade. All measurement equipment. I can't tell you the true level of Kai. This news was immediately leaked out. It's made the whole hunting world explode. There's a lot of media coverage of the Kai phenomenon. An E-class hunter suddenly unleashed tremendous power. The nation's most powerful forces immediately engaged. The offers. Contracts with huge numbers are constantly being sent to. Some high-level hunters come directly to get you on their team. But Kai doesn't care. You only have one goal. Become stronger to seek a panacea for Cho. My mother. As the competing forces for boys become increasingly tense. A mysterious force in the dark. I also kept an eye on you. Emergency warnings have been issued across the country. On screens across cities. News about the monster island is exploding. Monsters appear dense. This is no longer a normal dungeon. It's a real invasion. All S-level hunters across the country are called in. Immediately a war that lasted for days. As thousands of hunters rush into battle. Try to destroy the giant monsters. The monster of God was defeated. But before he died, he roared. A scream of horror summons another creature. Monster King. In the blink of an eye, it takes down the entire evil squad. But instead of dying, he just said, I want to meet the strongest of you. CAI witnessed it all remotely. Grinding your teeth, you activate. Teleportation skills disappear immediately. You're ready for the biggest fight of your life. Kai appears in the middle of the battlefield. The whole body is covered in energy. Blue brilliant. In front of you is a giant monster. His eyes glowed with curiosity. When you see a man who dares face with me, you are the strongest man in the world. Low voice. But the power echoes through space. CAI did not respond immediately. You look around. The nation's most powerful hunters. People praised by the whole world. Now lying on the ground breathless helplessly. They didn't die, but they were knocked out in a split second. Never. CAI felt such a tremendous overwhelm. But instead of being afraid, you're excited. Disaster level threat detection. Trigger hidden condition. New skills are being unleashed. A violent flash of light explodes around the CAI. System notifications are constantly popping up. The War God's unique skill has been unlocked. Sealed skills are being released. Activate the combat enlightenment state. It feels like your whole body is on fire. The power fills every cell. Your eyes glowed with the bright blue. You are the Monster King. He clenched his sword and the atmosphere flared furiously. Then let's fight. Monster King softly licked his lips, it delighted. Good to see. Do you deserve the title of the strongest? Kai appears in the middle of a bloody battlefield where all S-level hunters were defeated by the Monster King. In the blink of an eye. The sight in front of you makes your heart beat. The most powerful warriors of mankind. Lying moaning on the ground. Powerless before the giant creature in front of him. The king's red eyes looked straight at CAI. As if waiting for you for a long time. It's a low voice echoing through space. You finally came. I want to meet the strongest of you. The boy did not answer, but clenched the sword. Ready for a fight to the death. A familiar sound echoing through your head. Light emitted from bottle body. So bright that the sky was dyed white. From above, S-level hunters are dying. I also have to squint at you. The Monster King took a step back. Red eyes flashed a ray of surprise. This is the first time. It feels such a strong pressure. From a human being. War God form activated. All properties. 5 times in the limited time. Kai opened his eyes, the blue light coming from his pupils. Like 2 flames burning. For the first time in battle. You feel that nothing is possible. Stop me again. Let's start again. You have a low voice. The space around the CAI is. You're galloping at a much faster speed. The sound leaves long streaks of light in the air. In a moment. You were right in front of the Monster King. The Monster King didn't react. One of Kai's punches went straight to his stomach. Boom, the boom thundered. Monster King fold man. His whole body trembled because of the enormous impact. A second later. It's blown up, crushing everything in its path. He didn't give her a chance to recover. Dip your feet in the air. Swinging the sword with full force. Cut a long line of light through the sky. A giant arm of the Monster King was cut off. Fell to the ground with a bang. The monster's roar shook the ocean. But Kai didn't stop. You glide through each of your attacks fast. More cruel than ever, but ha. Interesting too interesting. The king laughed. Even though his body has suffered countless injuries. She looked at him with excited eyes. This is the real fight. It immediately activates the ultimate skill. The dark wish to sacrifice flesh and blood. From its body, the black blood explodes into flames. Every wound on his body began to heal. Squinting still a SAO trick. The battle is not over. On the contrary, this is just the beginning. The ultimate level of hazard detection. Automatically activate gender-breaking skills. Leap beyond the limit. Immediately the CAI body is full of energy. Each muscle explodes in strength. You're coming at incredible speed. Aim straight at the Monster King's neck. But only for a moment. Its giant hand swung up and crashed straight into the CAI boom. CAI was knocked hundreds of meters away. Through countless buildings. It creates a deep hole in the ground. He coughed up blood all over his body in pain. It was the first time you felt the difference. Such absolute power. Too fast, too strong. He muttered, his hands trembling with shock. But you don't have time to rest. The Monster King is standing right in front of you. To drop a kick down. With the power to crush a mountain. Tree triggers the shift in time. Immediately avoided in narrowly. Switch combat mode. Activate the adaptive system. The announcement echoed in. Your head means you have to adapt. And fight in a whole new way. He squinted and put his strength on the tail. Trigger the jump over the limit twice. A stream of black and blue energy enveloping his body. In the moment. He felt every movement of the Monster King. Slow down, not because it's weak. Because you were faster. Kai disappears in the wind. Appeared on the enemy's head. Cut down with full force. Line your sword slashing through its armor. Leaving a deep wound. Monster King breathed up. For the first time in this battle. It feels the pain. Kai didn't stop. You keep throwing a bunch of slashes. Every shot is accurate. But just in time you think you're dominant. Monster King suddenly burst out laughing. NDT no. But you're not enough. A giant shock wave exploding from the body. It repels CAI. And then it activates its ultimate skill. The eyes of absolute domination. Immediately the CAI's body freezes. An invisible pressure. It's like crushing your flesh. You can't fucking move. CAI gritted its teeth trying to resist, but in vain. The Monster King came. Put your hands up high and prepare to deliver a final blow. At that moment the activation condition is sufficient. Unleash the potential of the God of War. A bright light burst forth from the spicy body. The battle is not over. The black flame from the Monster King's body burns. Creating a storm of energy swirling around. The sky is like broken water. The ground shook violently. Under the influence of the dark wetting. That causes the flesh and blood cells of its body to fully recover. Even stronger than before. Boys in the air. Observe the enemy with sharp eyes. You know this will be a decisive battle. Time to maintain the God of War. 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes. The boy muttered, gripping the sword. The king disappeared from his position. Appeared right next to the Monster King. To throw a powerful slash. This time it's not as slow as before. Its giant hands swayed. Block the blow in inches of mud. Shock waves from the VA touch blowing everything around. The two competitors crashed into each other at tremendous speed. Each blow makes the space warp. The ground beneath their feet crumbled, the ocean swayed. CAI launched a vertical slash, but hell. The king avoided, swinging his hand against his stomach. There must be a horrible sound. CAI was knocked out of its bloody mouth. Land pain throughout the body. But you won't let me fall. There are 3 minutes left to finish now. Hand clenched the sword. Activate all the remaining energy. Ultimate skill trigger defect penalty. Your sword flared. The bright light turned into a giant sword hundreds of meters long. The sky is torn apart by pure force. The Monster King felt the threat. It's roaring, focusing all its energy on one blow. Finally. Ultimate skill of Monster King activated. Judge the darkness. 2 power source giant VA touch. The whole world stopped in a moment. A terrifying explosion tearing through space. Light and darkness are intertwined, creating a giant mass of energy that soars straight up into the sky. When the dust clears, only a shadow remains standing. CAI body full of injuries, but eyes remain steady. The Monster King has completely vanished. Victory. But before CAI could breathe, a voice in your head. Kill King level boots successfully. The dungeon is about to be unlocked. CAI squinting is not over yet. SAO. New skill unlock Dark Summon. A stream of black energy pouring into the CAI's body. You feel this power. It's different from what it was before. The system continues to notify. Player can summon the shadows of those who have been destroyed. Under my hands. Kai hands up. A giant shadow began to appear in front of him. The remnants of the Monster King's power gathered. Form a huge shape with bright red eyes. The darkness of the Monster King has been summoned. I watched the creature appear. A soft smile on your lips. You belong to me now. System unexpectedly displays a command line. Enter a command to fully activate the darkness summon. K take a deep breath. Sharp eyes. He gripped his hand and opened his mouth. Immediately the shadow of the Monster King fluttered. His red eyes glowed from under his feet. Another series of darkness rises. Form a dark army standing behind. You are ready to obey your new master. The real nightmare has just begun. The boy stood in the midst of the summoned army of darkness. Pulse air. You are surrounded by a dark force, but full of power. The system continues to issue notifications. The dungeon will open in 24 hours. It's recommended that a god-level tunnel be the ultimate challenge. Survival rate 0.1%. Squinting is another challenge. Monster King in the form of darkness. Kneel down in front of the boy. As an absolute loyalty. The other shadows also bowed their heads. You feel that now you are not alone. However, instead of entering the god-level vault, CAI decided. Prioritize your most important goal. Looking for ingredients to make medicine for mother. Use. Your system looks up information about the resurrection medicine. It's an extremely rare drug. It can cure all kinds of diseases. According to data, its main ingredient is the crystalline soul. And the jewel of the Monster King. What you just got. After defeating the terrible monster earlier. CAI breathe. So there's no need to go to a god-level dungeon. I've got what I need. 10 full collected material confirmation system. To begin the process of creating the resurrection elixir. Completion time 24 hours. He nods, then opens the teleport gate and turns. Back home at CAI. After returning. CAI didn't tell AI what happened. He quietly placed his medicine by his mother's bed and waited. When the drug is finished, he helped her drink every drop. The whole family looked at each other nervously. No one breathes. A few minutes after a miracle. CAI mother's body gradually recovered. The signs of illness disappear completely. She opened her eyes, looking as soft as ever. The tree is back. The tree could not hold back its tears. Everything you've ever fought for. I risked my life for this moment. From that day on, Kay decided to take a break from hunting. Back to normal life. You do simple things like go for a walk. Drink coffee. Enjoy peaceful time with your family. But that doesn't mean you're forgotten. The largest hunting associations in the country continuously send invitations. Even come to your house to convince. Attractive offers are constantly coming up. From joining the strongest teams, until the invitation to be the leader of you celebrities. But Kai rejected it all. Every day you're standing in a tall building. Quietly observe the city below. Now you've become stronger. You've saved your mother. But in my heart, you don't know what you should do next. A feeling of emptiness growing in my heart. Kay knows. This peaceful life won't last forever. And you're waiting. Something that will pull you back to the battlefield. Everything seemed peaceful until one day. Emergency alert systems are sounding across the country. Warning. Series of leveler gates appeared in the city. Giant gates with a bright red light. Cracks in the sky. Drop down ferocious monsters never seen before. The hunting teams immediately left, but only after a few hours. Horrible information is everywhere. The first team of hunters was completely annihilated. The next teams couldn't hold on too long either. The monsters this time. Completely different from before. They're smart and they're incredibly powerful. Country. Quickly raise the alert level to the highest level. The S-ship hunters. And the national level was immediately convened. The news is overwhelming in the media. The entire population fell into panic. Standing on a high-rise building. Look at the chaos below. Maybe this is what I've been waiting for. In the heart. The tree feels its fighting blood. It's boiling again. A real battle has begun. The whole country is in chaos. A-class monsters spilling out from the gates. Destroy everything in their path. Scream the explosion. And the echoing sound of the fighting. Endlessly echoing. Across the city. The national hunters quickly assembled. At government headquarters. An emergency meeting took place. On the big screen. Displaying images of hunting teams being wiped out. In just a few minutes. We're facing a wave of attacks. There's never been a president of the Hunters Association speaking out. His face is pale. All the S-boat hunters will be on their way immediately. Do not leave any ports wide. LAN. K is still standing in the building. His eyes followed the battles below. You can't deny. Part of you is excited. A hellish dragon. A giant leveler monster. With scales as hard as steel. Is crushing a whole team of S-class hunters. Their attacks. It can't penetrate its fearsome defenses right away. When it's pricing a slap. Death descended on the last hunter. A shadow suddenly appeared in front of him. Boom, a fist flying straight into the monster's jaw. Everyone's staring. The only one who can turn the dragon back. With a blow. The dust melts to reveal. A young man in the middle of a battlefield. His black hair was tangled, his eyes were as cold as a knife. Around the body. It's a flow of dark energy. Like a storm. The boy slowly started to. The boy returned to the world in shock. The hunting teams are exhausted. Suddenly it seemed like there was more hope. The name CAI who defeated the Monster King. The greatest of this generation is back. Not to lose time. You activate the darkness summon. From the bottom of the bottle. Series of darkness warriors rise up. They're all S-class monsters. That you once defeated. Led by the darkness of the Monster King. A monster. It's more terrifying than anyone can imagine. In just a few minutes, the battlefield is completely reversed. The leveler monsters that once raided. The city was crushed mercilessly. The S-boat hunters used to. Almost died standing still. See this incredible sight in front of me. 01 who can guess. With just one person. You can change the whole game. But then. Another giant gate opened in the middle of the sky. From which a low voice boomed. It's like space is frozen. This is the strongest human being. You can produce it. From the gate a giant shadow appeared. My eyes are red as hell. Smiling, the fun has just begun. CAI stands on the roof of a high-rise building. His eyes coldly watch the battlefield below. The whole city is in darkness. The gates keep releasing monsters. On the ground the nation's most powerful hunters are fighting hard. But the situation is not good. There are monsters and people everywhere. The blood is red on every street. No matter how strong the hunting teams are. He was exhausted by the brutality of the monsters. Suddenly a giant gate appeared in the sky. There's a tremendous pressure on the whole city. The hunters simultaneously feel a thick stream of air. Out of the gate came a giant shadow. My eyes are red as hell. It's not a regular monster. It's the Monster King. A supreme being, the ruler of the monsters. The Monster King swept his eyes at the hunters below. The low voice echoed. Human beings are so weak that no AI can react. top-ranked hunter rushed up to try to attack. But in a split second, his head fell to the ground. The remaining hunters were stunned. No AI can keep up with the speed of this monster. It's too fast, too strong. I want to meet your strongest. That statement. That all the eyes watching live TV. Hold your breath, close your eyes, take a deep breath. You open your eyes. His body disappeared from the building on the battlefield. A black wind passed by. When I opened my eyes again, the monster saw someone standing in front of him. Black hair flying softly in the wind. His cold eyes glowed a strange yellow. The boy came, he walked slowly. The voice doesn't carry any emotion. You want to meet the strongest. So here we are. I looked down at the city below, where the monster's scream echoed everywhere. The streets are now just a battlefield. The fire smoke enveloped the bodies of hunters and lumbering monsters. S-rank hunting teams have gathered. But they still couldn't stop the invasion. Surprise this notification system. General level SFF appeared in the city center. The ruler from the other side is coming. Squinting his eyes, a tremendous pressure radiated from the giant black gate that just opened. The air around you becomes thick. It's as if space itself is shaking before the appearance of something beyond human understanding. You can feel a strong presence. It's more dangerous than anything I've ever faced. An enemy that even Monster King before. You also have to bow down. For the first time in a long time. I feel my heart beating faster. You're not afraid, but it's exciting. Finally. Something strong enough to take us seriously. No more hesitation. Kai opened the teleport gate and disappeared immediately. In the city center, national-level hunters formed a defensive ring. But all efforts are in vain. A giant monster over 30 meters tall. It takes the form of a dark warrior, standing in the middle of the battlefield. Every step it takes makes the ground shake. At incredible speed, it rushed to sweep across a sword and wipe out an entire S-class hunting team. In the blink of an eye, blood splattered. The remaining hunters panicked, eyes filled with despair. What the hell is that? One of the boat hunters screamed. But soon after, his head was crushed in the giant hands of the monster. In the middle of it all seems to be over. A black wind suddenly swept across the battlefield. The shadow of a person appears in front of the giant monster. A pair of golden eyes shining in the night. The boy stood there facing the monster. Black hair fluttering in the wind. He inhaled his eyes without wavering. Calm but cold voice, we are here. The tree jumps down from the skyscraper. The street is in chaos. In front of you. The monster from the gate level A. They're killing everything on the road. Kai rushed to his eyes that glowed with gas. With a swing of the sword, the darkness appeared, ripped open the body of the monster head. Fairy in the blink of an eye. The blood splashed, but Kai didn't stop. Around the surviving bee and a hunters. Look at that scene with extreme amazement. It's spicy. A first-class hunter exclaimed. No one suspected that. The man who had just disappeared from the world of hunters reappeared. At this time the mud. Suddenly, another giant gate appeared in the middle of the city. It's not level A, it's level FFF. From the darkness, a giant creature stepped out. Shaped like an ancient demon with flaming red eyes. He looked around, 7 low. Oh the weak. I have come to destroy you. His hand gripped the sword and the corners of his mouth softened. That's good. Let's see who gets killed. The A-level gates continue to open. In the city sky. Monster eruption. As a flood of darkness descends upon humanity. There's sirens everywhere. Scream the explosion. VA screams touching fangs and claws. The national hunters are finally out. The strongest people. The ultimate warriors of mankind. Have gathered together to repel this nightmare. But no one expected that right now a wing. Port giant grade SS. S cracked right in the middle of the sky. From the inside. A low and murderous voice called out. Oh weak man. Your time of the end has come. A giant shadow came out of the gate. It's over 10 m high. Eyes that glowed like two hellfires. Black armor covered in spikes. Behind it hundreds of monstrous creatures are quietly advancing. Death fighters, armies from the abyss. The ship hunters immediately rushed into the attack. But 01 AI in time to react. One can see what just happened. In just a second. The most powerful army of mankind has been defeated. When the dust melts away. All the national level hunters. They all fell to the ground. Unconscious, no one has died. The quietest warrior of death his great sword. Look down at the losers. 7 cold hopes. We don't kill the weak. I just want to meet the strongest of you. The whole world stopped in that moment. On the roof of a CA high-rise building squinting down. You saw it all. Without hesitation he tightened the summoning hand. Port shift and step through. A battle to decide the fate of mankind is about to begin. The city is on fire. The gate leveler cracked flush. Countless giant monsters. Destroy everything along the way. National hunting teams have arrived. But the situation is not so good. The monsters this time are not only strong. There is also organization. As if. They're led by some super Vietnamese mind. In the air. The monsters screeched. Plunge down and tear apart. The soldiers are trying to defend. Under the ground. Hundreds of armored monsters like crushed tanks. The streets toss cars, people, hunters. Everything fell into chaos. At a hunter's headquarters near the city center. This level is out of control. An S-class hunter shouted. Try to stay calm when looking through the monitor. Our forces are not enough. Without stronger help. The whole city will be wiped out. All eyes turned to the man who had just spoken. That's Vincent. A famous national hunter. With unmatched combat capabilities. His face is cold. But there's a sense of urgency in the voice. He refused all the kin's invitations. But if there's an AI that can save us now. Kai on a high-rise building. Kai stood there quietly watching. Strong wind blowing. Following the screams of the monsters. You can see the blood below. You can see innocent people being murdered. Can see the nation's most powerful hunters. Fall one by one. You can do something. But should you do it? After the battle with the Monster King. You've decided to leave the hunting life behind. I want to enjoy peace with my mother. But this peace is crumbling. Right in front of you. Your hands are tight. The system suddenly pops up a notification. Special conditions are achieved. Activate hidden missions Dark War bonus. Kai closed his eyes and took a deep breath. In your heart a decision has been made. His eyes opened to a cold stare. You step up to the side of the building. Shift port recall. And in the blink of an eye Kai disappeared into the sky. The A-level gates continue to open. Release. A series of hideous monsters down the city. Every building destroyed, every street stained with blood. National level hunters are desperately trying to stop it. But the number of monsters is too high. And they don't seem to stop. It's getting worse very quickly. In the Hunters Association headquarters. Senior officials are worried. Look at the monitoring screen. Continuously updated data shows. The monsters this time are not only strong. There's also tactics. They're hunting our most powerful hunters. An officer shouted. When you see a group of S-class hunters. Ambushed and killed on the streets. We need a warrior who can change the situation. We need eyes. It's all about a single name. On the roof of a high-rise building. Kai crossed his arms looking down at the chaotic city. You predicted this. But seeing it with your own eyes makes you indifferent. A giant monster. Forehand black armor as hard as steel. Pick it up and throw a punch that destroys a whole neighborhood. What the hell? Kai focused his eyes on an appearance. The Black Spirit King class of boots. Damage absorption skills. Superpower dark energy field chemistry. Power. It is estimated that at least 5 S-boat hunters will be needed to destroy it. Scrub. The boy laughed softly. Let a monster like this be free to destroy. It's not okay as soon as you're ready to act. A tremendous wave of energy, suddenly sweeping through the city. The air as distorted. A giant gate opened in the sky. Mutant dungeon. A king-level monster is appearing, spicy startled. Not level S, not level A. It's an entity beyond human control. From the gate. A giant hand. With sharp claws reaching out. A giant black shadow slowly emerges from the red mist. The most powerful hunters left of the country immediately appeared on the battlefield. Vincent, who was dubbed the #1 hunter. Squeeze your weapon. I looked up at the sky with horrible eyes. We have no chance of winning. And everyone can feel the despair. CAI squinting. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Then you open the teleport gate right under your feet. In the blink of an eye, Kai appeared in the middle of the battlefield. The city is in chaos. The monster grade A spill out from the port's displacement, destroying every neighborhood, devouring weaker teams of hunters. The screams echoed everywhere. It signals a real end of the world. At the Hunters Association headquarters, each large screen display images from the surveillance cameras. The ship hunters forced to fight desperately, but gradually overpowered. On the map, the red dot represents the hunting teams. Repeatedly disappeared. The president of the association banged down the table. This situation is not okay. Even the strongest hunters can't hold out. One of the advisors was worried. We need a stronger weapon. We need CAI. All eyes are on the screen, tracking a high-rise building, where a guy with black hair is standing there, quietly observing the city. CAI on the roof of the building. You stand silently looking down. I saw the panic under my feet. But in the eyes of CAI, this is not just a disaster. It's also an invitation to clench your fist. That's when the system pops up. Emergency duty. Destroy the monsters to prevent the disaster. AI level rewards 10 special hidden skills. Kai laughed. So this is what we've been waiting for. Without hesitation, he opened the teleport right under his feet. Blink of an eye. Kai appeared right in the middle of the battlefield. The surviving hunters, stunned to see a shadow, appeared among the monsters. Kai. No AI response. You swung your arm to hack the army photo. From the ground, darkness rises. Transform. The monster warriors he defeated. F-class monster giants. Even the powerful former hunters, fallen in the past, now appears under Kai. The ground shook as hundreds of dark soldiers charge into battle. Let me show you what hell really is. Explosions echoed throughout the city. Giant monsters from the A-level gates is destroying everything. In the sky, military helicopters hovering, attempt to evacuate civilians. On the ground, a series of high-level hunters rushed into battle, but could not stop the monsters' advance. The rank hunters go all out, but this time the monsters are too strong. At the Hunter Association headquarters, inside the emergency classroom, the president of the Hunter Association slammed his hand on the table. We are losing control. The most elite hunting teams were crushed. If this continues, the whole city will be wiped out. A senior member said tremblingly. So what other options do we have? All was silent. Only one name echoed in their minds. A hesitant person speaks up. But he has refused us many times. The chairman narrowed his eyes and spoke in a heavy voice. This time he can't escape anymore. Kai appears on top of a high-rise building. Kai stood there with his hands in his pockets, looking down on the city engulfed in flames. He tried to live a normal life. But right now, you know, destiny doesn't let you stop. System rang. Urgent mission to protect the city. SFF level skill unlock reward. K, close your eyes, take a deep breath. So we have no other choice. A black light suddenly poured out from his body. Dark shadow army in battle. From the darkness beneath his feet, a series of dark warriors gradually appeared. Those who were once the strongest monsters now became Kai's loyal subordinate. Battlefield when monsters are crushing. Human defense line. A dark shadow suddenly descended from the muddy sky. The whole ground shook as Kai landed. standing among monsters. All the ferocious creatures turned their heads to look at him. A Class A ghost roared and charged. The flat bottle disappears too slowly. In the blink of an eye the head of the ghost LAN was cut off. The monsters shook. The boy looked at them with a cold smile. Let's start cleaning. The whole city was in chaos. The siren kept sounding. Army helicopters hovered over the evacuation sky. People still trapped in war zones. Underground. Monsters from the A-level gate continuously poured out, crushing anything that gets in their way. The strongest hunters have come out. Legendary names appear one after another. From S-rank warriors to the strongest mags in the country. Everyone understands that if they can't hold back the monsters, the whole country will be swallowed up. But even the strongest eventually fall. At the Hunter Association headquarters, we are losing control. An official shouted. Every defense plan is a failure. Even S-rank hunters also cannot hold back the monsters much longer. Association president clenched his fist. He knows if this continues, there will be nothing left to protect. An AI suddenly exclaimed. Only one person can change the situation. The whole classroom fell silent. Everyone knew that name. Cartier appears. On top of a high-rise building. Kay still quietly observed the battle below. He took no chances. Also did not show any anxiety. Just stand there. To let the eyes cover the entire battlefield. Giant monster. Higher than 20 m. It's tearing down an entire building with 1 foot. The hunters are steeped in. But you can't hurt it. Close your eyes, the system is waiting. He opened his eyes, a red light flashed in his pupils. Open the summon port. Immediately the darkness under his feet LAN wide. To swallow a whole street. From which a series of warriors of darkness rise. Who used to be the worst monsters. Kneeling in front of Kai. As an absolute master. Kai licked his lips. It's time. He stepped onto the edge of the building and then rushed down to the battlefield. Kai landed gently in the middle of the battlefield storm. All the monsters around immediately roared. Recognize, a dangerous person has just appeared. An AG-level monster charged. Sharp and sharp, intending to tear CAI apart in one fell swoop. In the blink of an eye his body was destroyed. Cut into pieces. Blood splattered everywhere, but not a single drop got on CAI's body. He looked up at the remaining monsters. AI came first. A giant Belmomo's roars. Rushed like a hurricane. Kai raised his hand. Darkness instantly swallowed. The monster that was just defeated before. And just a few seconds later. One version. The shadow of the monster that had just died rose up. Red eyes, it became Kai's subordinate. The whole battlefield fell silent. From afar the surviving S-rank hunters looked at him with eyes full of fear. Kai gently said, let's start cleaning. And the real nightmare of the monsters begins. The whole city was in panic. Monsters poured out from a series of leveler gates. Like a flood. The nation's top hunter teams also cannot stand before their overwhelming power. The horrible roar echoed everywhere. The building collapsed. The streets are filled with blood. And the bodies of the hunters who died. Panic. Hunter associations make a call. We finally need a miracle. Kai is still standing on the roof of a tall building. Silently look down at your city. I can feel every scream. Every weak breath of those who are fighting. Underneath the system echoing through your head. Do you want to go to war? Except activating the state of darkness domination. Kai didn't answer right away. You tried to get away from it all. I tried to live like a normal person. But the reality is so cruel. If you don't, who can protect the world? Kai took a deep breath and he had no choice. Activate dark domination. Immediately. A jet of black air exploding from CAI's body. Covering the entire roof where you stand. His eyes flashed a bright red light. He bent down to get momentum and disappeared. In just a split second. You appeared in the middle of the battlefield. The S-boat hunters are doing their best to protect the people. But they're about to fall. A giant monster. higher than 30 m, swinging his hand to crush anything within reach. With sound. A hunter was knocked out, crashed into a building. Blood spurts out of his mouth. He can't. We can't win. But before the monster had the final blow, a shadow appeared in front of him. Kai stood there, a hand out to catch the monster's giant punch. The ground cracked, but you didn't move. All the hunters rolling their eyes. That's Kai. He looked up at the monster in front of him. You're tired of living. With just one punch, the monster's giant head exploded. Like a watermelon. It was all quiet for a moment. The whole battlefield explodes in cheers. Boys don't stop. You plunge into battle. Each of his attacks is so strong that 0-1. What monster can stand? You raise your hand to your son. Immediately the monsters that had just been brought down stood up. But this time they knelt before Kai. Hundreds of dark warriors appear, turning the battlefield into a chest massacre. The S-boat hunters just realized. Kai is not only stronger than before. You have become something beyond human. And this is just the beginning. The whole city was in chaos. Giant monsters from the A-level gate, destroying everything in its path. S-rank hunters, the strongest in the country, have arrived. But no AI can prevent this disaster. CAI stood on top of the high-rise building observing everything. Despite deciding to leave the hunter world. But the scene before my eyes makes your heart restless. Suddenly the system rang in CAI's head. Urgent notice. An FFF class gate is forming a squint. Impossible. A giant space rift opened up. Right in the city center. From within a terrible creature came forth. Monster King of Darkness. The one who was once the strongest enemy Kai had ever defeated. But this time it was stronger against the bugs. You think you can fight me? Just one swing of the arm. A team of hunters were blown away like dust. No AI can stand. But before the Monster King could land the finishing blow, a cold voice rang out. Enough! The guy appeared right in front of the monster. The wind blew his hair and his eyes glowed in the dark. He raised his hand. A black stream of air poured out from Kai's palm. The whole space shook. From the darkness a series of shadow warriors rose up. The very ones who were once the strongest monsters that Kai defeated. King Monster was stunned beyond belief. Have you reached this level? The tree just smiled faintly and started walking. The final battle has begun. City in flames. Screams and explosions echoed everywhere. S-rank hunter helps fight monsters with all his might, overflowing from the A-level gates. But no matter how strong they are, the number of enemies continues to increase. Kai stands on the roof of the tallest building. Watch the chaotic battle below. Even though he left the world of hunters. But before this scene, he knew he couldn't stand still any longer. Suddenly the sky shook. A terrible energy swept through the city, causing all the hunters to stop in the sky. A giant gate opens, a SFF level gate. A giant entity came out from within it. Monster Lord. A creature. Takes the form of a giant black dragon. Eyes red as hell. With just a flapping of the wings. Firestorms swept through the city. Burn everything along the way. The hunters immediately rushed. But only for a few seconds. They were wiped out. God is not only strong. It also has superhuman speed. It moves like a lightning bolt. Take down hunters one by one with your claws. The strongest people in the nation. Now it's just the weak prey in front of us. It's in a minute, there's no AI left standing. The giant monster landed in the middle of the city. Eyes full of authority. Looking down at the trembling people below. And then it spoke in a low voice. But echoes throughout the sky. I did not come to destroy you. I came to find the strongest in this world. Bring him here. The whole world witnessed that scene. Via live TV. Everyone held their breath in panic and fear. No AI knows what to do. But then a figure appeared. Before any AI can react, Kai teleported in front of the Monster Lord. The atmosphere suddenly became heavy. Monster Lord, bow down. I stared at the little person in front of me. Then she gave a scary smile. Ra is you. The air smelled of blood and smoke. The city is in chaos. Each area was swept by monsters. The strongest hunting teams are out. But they still can't stand up to them. Leveler monsters are pouring out like a flood. In the sky, the giant gate continues to expand. Like a mouth without a bottom. Unleashed a series of terrifying creatures. But the worst is yet to come. A terrible earthquake shook the ground. A giant monster. Over 50 m high in the shape of a dragon. With jet black armor and glowing red eyes. Step out of the gate. Monster King. A hunter of the press shivers. Hands gripping weapons so tightly that they tremble. In just one swipe of the claw, a high-rise building was leveled. Another attack swept across the main street, sending the hunters flying like rag dolls. The entire human defense formation was crushed. In just seconds. Monster King roar. Voice echoed throughout the space. O weak creatures. I am not here to destroy you. I came to find the strongest man in the world. No one dared to answer. On a high-rise building, Kai was standing there quietly watching the battle. You've tried to stay out of the world of hunters. But now everything is pulling you back. The system suddenly appeared in front of CAI. The Monster King appeared. Emergency mission to destroy the Monster King. Rewards. CAI squinted. It's finally time. You take a deep breath. Then reach out in front of the darkness. Beneath your feet begin to rise. A series of shadow warriors appear. From Void 01. The giant shape gradually rose from the darkness. Shadow of the previous Monster King that Kai defeated. Kai stepped forward, his voice low but resounding. Darkness breaks out and the real battle begins. Boy standing on high-rise building. Looking down on the city in chaos. The siren was going off continuously. Military convoys moving through the streets. Deserted. Red light streams from the A-level gates. Spread across the sky. Makes the scene gloomy and deadly. The system sounded a warning in his mind. Total S level just confirmed. Appear in the city center. 99% chance of killing. Hand clenched fist. He decided to leave the battlefield. But these monsters don't give you a chance to rest. Below the S-rank hunters were present. Prepare to face the monsters pouring out of the gate. But as soon as the first monsters appeared, a horrible scene happened. A hunter forced to. A humanoid monster tearing apart. In a snap. Everyone was stunned. High intelligence monster. Han took a deep breath. You can continue standing still or you can jump in and change the game. But the choice was never really yours. Because he knew that fate had pulled him back into the system. Open teleportation gate. Select teleportation point. Boy pointing hand down the battlefield. Teleport. In a flash. His figure disappeared from the high-rise building.